Hello! After a couple of weeks break, I decided to make a new video before I switched to a completely new phase. It was interesting to note that some people commented even of my color of hair. This is inappropriate. And also they didn't like my English. English language is not my mother tongue, which is obvious. I started learning it when I was very little. It is good enough to teach students of university neuroscience and communicate my scientific results. So if you don't like it, don't listen. You have a button called play. You don't have to push that button because, I'm active in mental health issues, and listening to me and new things from neuroscience can significantly affect your ignorance. This is a disclaimer. If you mind my English, please change to another channel. I just wanted to share with you something that I discovered today, and it really rings a bell in connection to comments of several artists that I know and admire, and also to neuroscientific findings. Recently I was talking about how beneficial it can be if you often go to walk, if you enjoy the nature, if you really use that to de-stress instead of something technical. This is true. What is also true that many people were talking about that before, but neuroscientific findings recently confirmed that there is something that we can call bibliotherapy, and especially in people who are suffering from mental illness. There is a Guardian piece on that. I'm going to put the link below. What really works, I think, is that instead of focusing on inverse problems and repeating negative thoughts and things like that, you simply become focused on somebody else's problems in life. And on top of that, this is art. What you're reading is pure beauty, and you're forced to make completely another world of your own. Focus on that and forget about your problems. It is not that straightforward. I just made an oversimplification. Bibliotherapy do exist, and it gives nice results, especially in depression. I encourage you to read a lot and to have a contact with art, because art is affecting your emotions. And if you have a problem with mental illness, you would probably react positively as many other people do. My initial inspiration for this was my recent visit to I Film Museum in Amsterdam. And I'm in the personal process of saying goodbye to the country I spent a lot of years in, Netherlands, and I'm changing location soon. So this is emotional for me, and I'm trying to visit as much museums and gardens and people I know here who are friends. One of those things was visit to a film museum in Amsterdam today. To be honest, I never heard of the artist, but I was completely smitten when I saw what he's doing. His name is Guido van der Werve. He's a film artist, but he's basically a very talented musician, composer, storyteller, and someone who is, due to unfortunate events in his life, actually start thinking in, let's say, not so traditional way. The artist is very talented in playing piano and composing music, but he was undermining his own value and suffering from depression, but the movies are really beautiful. And what I really saw in there is a really good sense of humor. Sometimes it's dark, but he's basically showing unimaginable bravery on expressing what he thinks is important. And the title of this toonstelling of, or how we should say in English, exhibition, is Palpable Futility. I really like the title because he is someone who can compose beautiful music, he can make beautiful films. He's a very talented chess player, and he's also someone who is running marathons. And he said that that's his addiction. But one of the things that rings a bell in my head is the topic of escapism. That people are running and going to the nature to escape the life they don't like. Maybe they're unsatisfied with the job they're doing, maybe they're unsatisfied with the overall social situation or how the things are going in today's life, but it is called escapism. I almost forgot to mention my beloved Ursula K. Le Guin, who actually made an essay on escapism, and I read that lately, and I really must say that I agree with her. She said, the definition of escape is that you're trying to save your life and you're escaping something. For example, you want to escape from a prison, or you want to escape to your freedom. And by definition, it is a positive thing, right? So why is the term escapism used as something negative? This is puzzling to me. Van der Werve is actually addressing that. He's saying that by his films that escapism is actually natural. We should escape the unnatural conditions we are living in. We should recognize that in nature, and we should think through the standards that we are obeying. So, bibliotherapy turns out to be a very good approach to diminish the symptoms of depression. If you keep in mind that majority of my short movies are about detection of depression, symptoms of depression, news from the literature and neuroscientific findings in connection to that, I think bibliotherapy can really be something that people simply can try. It also depends what kind of literature you are studying or immersing in, but enjoying some artistic content like movies, music, especially music, and bibliotherapy definitely can help. Van der Werve is building his career for the last 20 years, and if you see his attitude towards nature, to individual human like he is, who is, for example, just walking, reminding me on some of the supreme artists like Buster Keaton. In front of the icebreaker, who is a couple of meters behind him, or simply running triathlon to make the bridge between the place on earth where Chopin's heart is buried and Père Lachaise, where his body resides, is actually heroic. Guido van der Werve is renowned world artist, and he's actually in his films depicting always a tiny person surrounded by beautiful nature, which is by definition romanticism. But a signature, and every color is laced with dry wit, sometimes even black humor, which I like and understand. And the guy is really original, like when he decided that he doesn't belong to this planet and spent 24 hours on the North Pole spinning around the direction in which the Earth is revolving. And this is to demonstrate that he's out of this setting. He doesn't belong here. He doesn't accept the rules. He wants to highlight his values, and he even had 2 tablets when 10 commandments, which are really interesting. Actually came to conclusion with a friend of mine that we are following many of them. And the one which is ended on 10 commandments is that happiness is overrated, which is really true in the culture we are living in. So I highly recommend, if you have chance, to watch some of the Guido van der Werve movies, because he was featured in Stedelijk Museum, he's featured in Film Museum in Amsterdam, and also he was presenting his work in biennales in Venice, Moscow and Istanbul. He also got the Golden Calf for the short movie, and etc. But aside for that public domain, you can see that it is really exquisite human being who is filming his outstanding ideas and showing a bravery when, for example, he is going to extreme in physical attempts, like he actually showed with his triathlon of 1700 kilometers to connect two dots important in Chopin's life, and that the place in Paris where his officially tomb is on Père Lachaise, and in church in Warsaw where his heart is buried, because her sister actually smuggled that to Poland. He's claiming actually that he's exploring the futility of human existence, but basically he's showing immense beauty of the nature. I highly recommend that, and yes, art can improve your mood significantly. See you next week. Thank you for listening.